We're the Con Guys, and this is the Con Guys Show, coming to you straight from the nerdy heart of Hollywood, California.
And this is Jim with theconguy.com.
She's been here with theconguy.com.
Katie here, aka the Con Girl.
Zordon did not want 5 teenagers with attitude.
My name is Derek Sam.
I'm Danae Sams, and that's my brother.
We are your home for news, opinions, and interviews from the world of Comic-Cons and fandoms. Your ultimate insiders for all things con.
Hey, everybody. Oh, no, I just lost my window. Hold on. There we go. Welcome to the Con Guy Show, your home for discussion and updates on fandom, Comic-Cons, pop culture, and anything you geek out on. We are we're switching up the show. We're having a little bit of a weird show tonight. We had some last minute snafus, which, as you all know, means snafu. And we had scheduled a wonderful, wonderful actress tonight, Janisha Adams-Ginyard. I hope I pronounced her name correctly. Forgive me if I did not. But we had some last-second shenanigans happening in the wonderful world of Hollywood, and she was unable to end up making it tonight. So if you follow us on social media, you probably saw some of our posts saying, hey, we've got her on the show tonight. She plays one of the Dora Milaje on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and so we were very excited to have her on the show. But unfortunately, as we said, she wasn't able to make it tonight. But we are hoping that she can be on our show again in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
You may have seen her recently, and we'll just leave it at that. We'll just avoid any kind of spoiler thing, because we're going to be dancing around spoilers tonight on the show. The reason that I am speaking right now instead of Jim is because I have a pompadour, and that's why. And remember, the higher the hair, the closer to God.
It's not accepted next week, Ben. Just watch my hair next week, okay?
Okay.
I love that idea.
I'm
Big hair. Derek's gonna win the biggest.
All pompadour show.
But we do have some cool stuff we're going to be talking about tonight. I mean,
we're doing a hostful. We're doing a hostful tonight.
Yes, we are. That's exactly what we call it. By the way, I just want to say, Janisha Adams-Ginyard, she has been so pleasant to work with this week and stuff, and we are just so disappointed that things didn't work out with us tonight. But you know what? She's done such an amazing job on the show on Falcon the Winter Soldier, and that's why we're so we wanted to talk to her tonight, and we can't wait. Even if we don't get a chance to talk to her, we wish her the best, because we know that her career is just exploding. And so, anyways, we hope we can get her back on. But if we don't, you guys make sure you keep on following her, because she's doing some big stuff. All right, sorry about that.
Yeah, and her character and the Wakandans showing up during Falcon and Winter Soldier was probably one of the biggest surprises and coolest things that we got to see in that. So
I think it was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That show has just been awesome. Every episode's better than the last one, and I cannot wait for Friday.
I'm
I finally caught up. I caught up just before the show. So I know what's happening now. So I can be part of the discussion. I'm very excited.
Was anybody else's favorite surprise this week Julia Louis-Dreyfus?
Yes.
Right?
I was ecstatic when I saw her.
I was watching on my phone, and I was like, wait, I know that voice. And for half a second, I was like, that's not Tina Fey. And then I was like, no, it's Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
We're just glad Marvel got her before the boys.
Right.
Yes.
Well, and then the other part at the end of that scene, she hands John Walker's wife her card, and then she walks off, and then they look at it, and he's like, nothing on it. It's a blank card. I was like, ooh, mysterious.
I love it.
I had to wonder,
you need to find me, because I'll find you.
Yeah. Is that what she's saying? Or is it I wondered if it was just a total power move, or if it was even this is going to change when you put it in the sunlight, maybe? Because that's
I think it was more of a leaving your calling card instead of being you don't need to get a hold of me. I think that was more a power move for sure. But that's the vibe.
Maybe it's actually a homing beacon, and she's going to use it to follow him around.
Ooh.
Maybe she'll.
Because I keep every piece of blank paper that a stranger gives to me.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you never know when you're going to have an origami emergency.
Okay, but also, Danae, if it was Julia Dreyfus, you would save that piece of paper.
I would save that piece of paper.
Yeah.
I would find a use for it.
A big thing that happened in this week's episode, we're going to cover Falcon and Winter Soldier, obviously, for obvious reasons, for a little bit here at the top of the podcast. Only the first 50 to 75 minutes. And
we're getting them shorter.
One of the big things that happened this week was Bucky and Sam were able to get the shield back from insane John Walker, insane in the membrane John Walker. And so the big question now, we saw some, I mean, the question that's in our notes here is who will wield the shield. I feel like we got a pretty good idea by the end of the episode. I could be.
Unless they're trying to just pull a fast one on us, but.
Which is not like Marvel has done that in the past, you know.
They've
theories. Tried.
Oh, yeah?
I have theories. Well, it's like, so
theories without saying something else we'll talk about? Because I'm in for theories, just not knowing anything.
Well, no, I get it. What's cool is like the main part of our show tonight, we really do want to hit on who is going to wield the shield, why is it important, and what do we think is going to happen. We do have some news about that, but I am super interested. Ben has probably read more comic books than all of us here put together, so his theories carry a little tad bit more weight.
Yeah, I'm in for this theory without the spoiler theory that we got today.
Oh, well, Katie's going to tackle that in just a few minutes.
Yeah, we're going to...
Okay, one other thing.
Go ahead.
Sorry, did you guys all see the credits scene?
Yes.
Had one.
Yes, I've been looking for one.
I was checking all the episodes to see if there was one, and now there finally was. So, sorry, go on.
Yeah.
Let's let him talk.
Now. Yes, there was a mid-credits scene, of course. Listen, this has nothing... Okay, so in the comics, traditionally, both Bucky and Sam have taken up the mantle of Captain America and carried the shield. So it really is a crapshoot. Like, it could be either of the guys. It could be one of them and then another one later. Who knows? I feel like with there's just stuff happening here. And this is based on nothing except what I said to myself as soon as I finished watching this most recent episode 5. I looked at it. White Wolf, Bucky brings Sam this big techno briefcase from Wakanda after John Walker rips Sam's wings off, right? By the way, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen episode 5.
There are going to be some spoilers tonight. Sorry.
Yeah, spoiler alert, everybody.
Yeah. He brings him a big techno case from Wakanda, okay? Right? So what comes from Wakanda? Vibranium. And what is Sam missing? Wings. And what has Bucky been pushing for the whole time? Sam take the shield. Sam take the shield. We have it set up with, they'd never let a black man carry that shield, and all this kind of stuff. So I feel as soon as I saw him open up the briefcase at the end of this episode, or suitcase, whatever it is, I'm like, that's going to be Stars and Stripes vibranium wings. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm putting out there. Because as soon as he opened it, because I was like, Bree and I are watching it, and I'm like, it's going to be a big reveal. And Bree's like, no, they're probably going to cut to the credits before they show anything. And sure enough, they cut to the credits before they showed anything. And I said, it's going to be vibranium, Stars and Stripes wings for Sam to be the new Captain Falcon America. Captain Falcon America.
Is that how they say it?
Captain American. No, they don't. It's just Sam Wilson, Captain America. But that's my theory.
As we stop, I just got to throw this in here real quick. I just want to say hello to these people. Nathan, Rita, very cool to see you. By the way, your friend Jill Brownlee Wolf. He loves your origami emergency there.
Origami emergency.
Gotta be prepared.
And then Mama Cheese is here. Glad to see her.
Oh, Mama Cheese. Oh, Jim,
this will be like 3 hours straight for her.
What's that? What's that, Ben?
By the end of this,
Jim.
Go ahead.
Wait, say it one more time, Ben.
Highlight the next comment from Twitch.
What? I was trying to figure out how to delete that.
It's like a spam button.
5 followers and viewers.
Jim, we've been over this. I could delete the comment, but I don't have access.
Okay. So the thing that Ben was saying was, I think, kind of at the heart of the matter is, like, I think Marvel is doing something more than just like, okay, who's going to have the shield next? You said something significant that we were kind of noticing. It feels like it's trying to tie it a little bit more into some current events that have been happening. It's the social justice demonstrations that have been happening this past year. Because a couple things I didn't get, but you just said something I think might have cleared it up. We miss seeing you too, Jill.
Hi, Jill.
All right.
Hey, Jill.
In this, but in a couple episodes ago, when Sam and Bucky were finding out about the Winter Soldiers and that there had been a bunch, but then he found out that Mr. Bradley had been one, and Sam goes, "What? There was a black Winter Soldier?" And he got very angry, and I was trying to figure out exactly why he got angry at that point, like the fact that one of them in the past was black, and maybe it is tied more closely to what you just said. Like there used to be a black Winter Soldier, and he
Captain America.
Yeah,
I think you mean Super Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Super Soldier. There used to be and he was never allowed to carry the shield. I think that's probably where that anger came from, because I was a bit confused. But hearing you say that, I think that might clear that up for me a little bit, if that's what they were intending.
Yeah, and I think it is. It's definitely, and of course, this isn't a manufactured storyline that they were just like, oh, let's hit on current events. This is something that's existed in the comics since the 70s. You know, this storyline, and so it is bringing up, and it is a time, life imitates art, imitates life, et cetera, et cetera. What have comic books always been but a commentary on our social status? The X-Men, for example. And so it plays right into what comic books and what comic book characters are really designed for in a lot of ways, which is to reflect things about our society and tell us stories to so that we can understand things. And so, of course, this recalls a lot of stuff about the Tuskegee experiments and stuff like that, with them experimenting on black soldiers and these African-American black men dedicating their lives to the service of this country in the past, and being treated as less than. And I felt like that scene where he's talking to it's Mr. Bradley, right?
It's Isaiah Bradley.
Isaiah Bradley, yes. Just slipped my mind for a second. When he's talking to Isaiah, and it's this whole thing of this guy was the guy who survived out of those experiments and should have been the next one to take up the shield, and he wasn't allowed to because of the times. And then he's saying, so much is the same, and we are dealing with so much that is the same right now. And so I think when he said the line, they're never going to let a black man be Captain America, or they're never going to let a black man carry that shield. And I kind of smiled at that, because I was like, ooh, that's motivation for Sam. And then he said, and no black man in his right mind would ever do it.
That was the new part, though. That was more current.
And that can reflect the feeling of that experience, that experience creates back towards the country that has treated people this way. And so I feel like that also can light a fire for Sam to be like, this is a legacy that I need to carry on, and this is and I am the one to carry this on and make it, bring it out into the light, so to speak, I guess. And I understand, I'm saying this as a white dude, and so it's not an experience that I have shared, but I did find it to be very powerful, and I can only hope I'm like Zemo, where I say I'm out of line, but I'm not wrong.
But you just made a point, though. That's a really good point. Is like, none of us can claim that we have shared somebody else's experience, but I don't think Marvel is writing the show just for one experience. I think they want. So what's cool is like, how do we process this? How do we as non people of color or what? I know Katie. She has some really. Katie, I didn't mean to diminish you at all. This is just Jim fumbling over words right now.
It is very much Jim fumbling.
You fumble over words?
Yeah,
oh, imagine that. But it is interesting to know. Like,
let's give him a close-up. Let's get it right.
And I'll be the first to admit, like, we were talking earlier this week, and I wasn't at first in love with this past episode. I was like, it's something about it was just, I was thinking, well, is this really the story that was in the comics and whatnot? But like, I'm on comic book resources right now. It's a great resource. And just what Ben was saying, let me just read this real quick. Before Steve Rogers took up the shield, there was another brave soul who did, Isaiah Bradley. In the comics, he was a Tuskegee Airman. Bradley was one of 300 African-American soldiers secretly experimented on by the U.S. Army in Project Rebirth, the government's early attempts to create the super soldier serum. And this was, listen to this, this was revealed in the book called Truth, Red, White, and Black, the 2003 miniseries written by the late Robert Morales. Bradley was one of only 7 survivors of the trials, but he is the last one standing when he undertakes a mission behind enemy lines in Germany to destroy the nation's efforts to create its own super soldiers, which that's kind of interesting.
I want a flashback. I want to see it happen versus told about him being
in this series though.
Badass.
Timing.
In this series, wasn't he in Korea?
It's worse. It's worse. Wait, I'm going to tell you. To do so, he went behind enemy lines. He disguised himself as Captain America using the costume and shield. He completed the mission for the good of the country, but in the comics, he is charged with stealing the costume, court-martialed, and imprisoned for nearly 20 years. Sadly, the unrefined version of the serum in Bradley's system caused debilitating effects on his mind and body. I think Marvel might be sticking kind of close to this, and if that's the case, good for them. Good for them. This is it's a tragic story that we're hearing here. But I'm glad we talked tonight because I was a little bit lost in a little bit of it, but it kind of, especially the part when Sam was like, no, what you said, no man, maybe a black man shouldn't take up the shield. Who would want to? That was a powerful statement, actually. If you stop and think about it. Katie, I'm sorry, I was interrupting you.
No, it's fine. I was just saying, when it comes to Captain America in general, I knew that this would probably be my favorite show that comes out on Disney Plus for Marvel, just because Captain America has always been my favorite of the franchise. The first Captain America is great. The second one I loved. I thought Winter Soldier was fantastic. Loved Civil War, and I love all of his appearances in the Avengers movies. And so it's not really surprising to me that I would like this show. And I think, I've mentioned how they've been taking risks with the political commentary in this show, and I wouldn't expect anything less from Captain America story. I mean, literally, it's in his name, Captain America. There's going to be some sort of a political messages in that, and in my mind, they're ticking all the right notes. Because that episode, it was a little bit longer, by the way. I don't know if you guys noticed that. It was a 55-minute episode. At first I was like, how long is this episode? Are we looking at 90 minutes? I wasn't sure, but it was 55. And they touched on a bunch of commentary that it kind of just, it was touching. It was sad, and it was commentary that when you think back on it, you're like, this is a really sad story and a sad aspect that we have to even discuss this. But in a learning and teaching standpoint, well done, if that makes sense, what I'm saying.
No, I agree. And although I'm not going to dispute the fact that they're swinging for the fences, it's like Ben was saying, it's in the comics. This is a storyline that's in the comics. They're staying true to their history. And wow, this is kind of cool. Marvel wrote this story in the 70s. This is, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with Marvel for being ahead of their time. And this is what we were laughing at. Jill, Jim and Luke, you were cracking me up with your big old glass of something. Jim reaches to your left to pick up the glass, and Luke reaches to his right. It looks like it's the same glass.
I think Derek had a comment he wanted to make.
Yeah, I was going to say, Derek, you were saying something.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Where were we? I was asking, in this one, did they change it to where he was not in World War II, but was in Korea?
I believe.
Because I thought he mentioned, he at least mentioned something happening in Korea. And I think probably because this is 2021 and the character would just be too old. He wouldn't be alive anymore.
In the comics, it was the 70s.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think that does line up with the whole, Captain America went missing and we wanted to figure out what to do while he was gone kind of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I picked up from it. It was like after Steve Rogers disappeared, they tried to recreate.
Yeah, they tried to do it.
Rogers.
I love that we have not followed our rundown sheet at all tonight. Great job, guys.
No, we got to talking about this, and it's really
well. This is very important. It's the
yeah. Okay, but yeah, I do think Sam should wield the shield for multiple reasons.
Wait a minute. Derek, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So everything that Ben said, yes, Sam should be wielding the shield, and also like he was the one that Captain America kind of chose as his successor.
Yeah.
Even though Bucky was his friend before that, in many ways, Sam is the one who saved Steve, and then Steve went on to save Bucky. And because of that, you know, there's this heroic aspect to Sam that isn't quite the same. Do you know what I mean? Like Bucky's still battling some demons, and Sam, it's more battling, you know, circumstances in the world where he is. And also, first episode, when he's diving onto that plane in that amazing action sequence, I think it's a little bit of foreshadowing, perhaps, that he uses the wings as a shield. He turns and they kind of like flip into this shield shape.
that was amazing. I loved that moment.
It is meant to be. He's a good character. And where did we first meet Sam? In The Winter Soldier, he's jogging at the mall in DC. I mean, he is this patriotic figure. And yeah, like I do love his storyline. I mentioned when we were first talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier, like I love how he was introduced in this way where he's addressing things like PTSD. And that's one thing I do appreciate about this show, you know, coming like with a little bit of military experience. Like I've never deployed, but I've spent, you know, about a decade as a reservist now. And I've known guys who like have dealt with PTSD. You know, I did lose a friend to suicide several years ago. And it's interesting to see some of those things play out. And it's like looking at it, I do get a little bit frustrated because, you know, we all have our reasons to be frustrated with John Walker. But one thing that really bugs me is he's in uniform and completely not up to grooming standards. And if I were going to go before any kind of government commission or whatever, if I guess it wasn't really a court martial, but if I were doing that and I was going to put on dress blues, you'd better believe I would shave and cut my hair. And I think as a captain, he should have known better. So that alone right there was enough for me to not trust him, even if I did up to that point.
He's unhinged.
But the whole thing, yeah, he was, well, certainly, you could tell. But he's been scruffy from the beginning. When we first met him, his hair was like all over his ears, and he had all this stubble, and his sideburns were down to here. And I'm like, no, sir.
Well, just to piggyback off of that,
a unit like that, and we were in uniform, I would be like, I would use that knife hand that the staff sergeant uses, and be like, "Hey, un-F yourself." Except I might not say that to an officer's face, but I might, you know, quietly, subtly, like, "Hey, sir, can I talk to you for a second? Like, is everything all right? Because you look like an effing mess." I would find a respectful way to do that. And then I would have averted this whole crisis of this show because, you know, everybody knows that once you have you're clean shaven and you got short hair, then you can become a good soldier.
Yeah, true.
Well, just kind of to piggyback off of that, like I think that was done wrong on purpose because I know I sent it to Derek. I can't remember if I sent it to you guys or not, but I read a whole Twitter feed about how every aspect of the new Captain America's uniform was supposed to make us. Should I keep going, Ben?
No, I'm just saying, yes. That's
it was supposed to make us feel uncomfortable with the fact that, like, the A for Captain America was on the left side, which, Derek, that is where you put a medal that you have not earned, correct?
Well, okay, on your dress uniform, you've got the medals you earn go over on this side.
I'm going to get a 5-minute answer now. Sorry, guys.
Okay, yeah, and then on your left side. But on your right, you'll have, like, it's weird to say a medal you have not earned, but you'll have... Right here, you'll have like a unit award, which you might not have personally earned, but your unit did. And so, like when I'm in my dress blues, I can wear awards that some of them I didn't personally earn, but my unit did before I joined, and so I still get to wear them while I'm part of that unit. But you can also get things like foreign services awards, if I remember correctly. That because I don't have them, that would go up here. But generally, your own awards that you personally earn do go on this side. Yeah.
Right, and that was wrong on his. But at the same time, it was stuff just like the shade of blue was just a very slightly off to make us uncomfortable from that Captain America that we're familiar with. And the lines, instead of being this way, they were this way, and they were done in a jagged form that we often like just associate with something that is dangerous. And even his helmet was formed with. Yeah, like a wasp. Like that's how the same line formation you'd see on a wasp or a hornet. And then just even like the brow bone of his helmet resembled that of Hydra, if you look closely at that. It was just a really cool thing. And it picked up.
There's also no white. It's all silver. There's no white on his costume.
Interesting.
It's just enough to make us like not like him, but not really be able to articulate why. Just those.
I was reading that thinking, I hope Katie read this because this is like
I didn't
totally
get
her
to
wheelhouse.
read it because I think I was at work, but I still need to go back and look at that, and then I can text you guys my thoughts and share them on Twitter or something.
Well, it even talks about how like they use like brown and orange stitching on the red parts because instead of like with Steve Rogers' costume, the red is more bold and bright, and on this costume, it's more rusty and brownish, almost like blood, and like all this, and like the red and the blue together instead of the red and white together, and it goes in depth, and it's insane, and I'm like,
it's just a great example of what happens when the government interferes.
Well,
I shouldn't have said that. Sorry.
In general, it's interesting to hear you guys say that and talk about this because as a costumer, I'm very big on color theory. I don't talk about it a lot, but if you watch certain things with me, I can't guarantee that I won't give away something that I noticed from costuming. And the fact that you guys are feeling it's unsettling without knowing what the costumer did is shows that they're doing it really well. Because I mean, it's supposed to, and you don't even really realize it's happening because they did such a good job with it. So
another great thing I read, and I was looking for the tweet earlier, and I apologize I can't find it, but it gave a good example of like why Steve Rogers was so important for Captain America was that he could lift Thor's hammer, and John Walker cannot do that. We can all agree that would just be impossible. Yeah, like he can pick up the shield, but he cannot pick up the hammer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Jim.
I don't want to interrupt. This is a question, and Derek, I kind of want to get your perspective on this. And I did see, and this is a controversial question for me to ask, which I'm sitting here thinking, why in the world would I ask it? But I'm going to. There was some pushback by a lot of folks this week, and I think it showed up in a couple of the national papers about the portrayal of an active military guy being the villain. Yeah. In the show, and some people were taking offense to that. I would love to know your perspective on that.
Was he active military or
well, he's working for the military. I don't think this is a representation of somebody in the military, but they went out of their way to kind of humanize him and show that he was loyal to his country. Is this what he's going through, another PTSD thing? I don't know.
Well, somebody else can weigh in before because I might be a little long-winded.
Please go.
Well, I think
with great power comes great responsibility.
No, Danae had something, yeah.
Well, just like my quick comment would be, in First Avenger, Captain America thought that Bucky was dead, but he didn't have the same reaction that Sam Walker did.
John Walker.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he didn't have the same reaction that John Walker did.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it just shows the difference in that they carry themselves and the inner inside as well. Because I mean, obviously, it is talking about PTSD as Derek mentioned. PTSD isn't the same for everybody. I mean, Captain America, we don't really know what his. I mean, he was frozen after he was gone from the war, so it was a little bit different than the way that John is dealing with it. If that makes sense, like. He didn't have time right after he went under to really digest everything he went through. If that makes sense what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like as I watch this, I don't feel like this is meant to be any kind of commentary on the military or the United States or anything like that. I think it's more of a commentary on look at the type of, look at how easily it could be to let that kind of. This is a guy with honors, who they picked to be Captain America, and it's Marvel originally published Captain America: Truth on February 4th, 2009, written by Robert Morales, art by Kyle Baker. Thank you, friend of the show, Thomas Parham.
Yes.
Oh,
Tom is an expert on all this stuff. He's been on this show several times, and he's cosplayed the Falcon a lot.
Yes, and I didn't want to interrupt Ben, but I did want to throw that on there in case anybody was wondering where they could get a hold of this story. Yeah.
Right. Well, and I saw that too, and I was hoping you'd pull it up, so that's why I called it out while I was talking. But I think it's this is a guy who has honors. But Steve Rogers became Captain America and made Captain America who he is because of who Steve Rogers was. And at that point, you can't really separate Steve Rogers from the concept of Captain America. And when you come in and you even take the best guy you can find and plop him into the responsibility of taking over, it's, to me, it was an example of how heavy is this shield. Heavy is the arm that carries the shield, so to speak, if you will. And also exemplifying how Steve Rogers' influence on Sam and vice versa makes, I think, Sam the ideal choice in this case, and it kind of exemplifies what he is about and those kind of traits. But yeah, I don't know. I'll defer to Derek.
And I do have one more thing to say before we go to Derek.
Thomas Parham, I just sent you a text message, my friend. Please answer me back.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah. Before we go to Derek,
let us know. We'll get you on tonight.
I do have to say, on the other side of the new Cap, Marvel's done a good job of kind of still portraying him as not kind of fully, because they gave us the, like, you lose your best friend, like, that you're going on these missions with. They literally, this group of terrorists killed his best friend, and even though it wasn't the exact person, any soldier, if you kill their friend, he's going to go after the enemy. Yeah, he did it brutally, and yeah, like, it wasn't the best way for things to happen in front of people with their mobile phones and stuff, but they kind of painted, and then him going to visit the family, and then them saying how much his friend respected him as, Captain America, and how honored he was to be by his side. I mean, they are portraying and putting a little sympathy still there, but by the kind of the way he acts and treats, Bucky and Sam, we see more of the douche there. But a lot of the stuff he's been doing is, pretty humanizing for like a warrior or a soldier to, like, you want to defend, like, your best friend, and something like that happens, and you want to be there for the family, and you still see the human side of him. But yeah, I mean, at the same time, the kind of got in the head. So it's this weird line that they're kind of playing with all that.
Well, I also think he took the crazy serum. He took the serum, and that made him nuts.
Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of stuff playing into the character's choices at this point.
Yeah,
but he took it because he knew he couldn't defeat them on his own. And yeah, it was probably the wrong choice, but he, as a warrior person, knew to protect the world, like, and especially after facing off against the Wakandans, like, he's just saw how, he can't stand a chance against this next level set of hero. And yeah, he probably made the wrong choice, but he was making what felt right in his mind to defend his role as Captain America. Again, I'm just kind of stirring the pot here a little bit, but I'm seeing kind of both sides of
I
what
think
they're
the fact that we can have that discussion says that it's a well-written character.
Can I comment on what Luke said, though, real quick?
Yes.
The fact that John did take the serum, I think, was a big, when we're talking about who will wield the shield, I think that's actually something that a lot of people might have glanced over as not a really major detail. I think the fact that John Walker, and of course this is speculation, we don't know what's going to happen, but I think the fact that we saw John Walker take the serum after we found out that Sam would never take the serum if offered him is a very important detail to take note of. And I think Steve knew that Sam wouldn't do that. If given the opportunity, he knew that he would do what was right, and he wouldn't choose to be a super soldier. And that's the real reason why Sam will wield the shield in the end, is Bucky and Cap were both enhanced, and he thought the best thing would be.
We got a surprise guest coming in.
What up? Con guy.
By the way,
Steve took the serum and he didn't turn out bad. So I'm not saying taking the serum is necessarily bad, but Bucky got brainwashed.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Okay, for those of you, by the way, for those of you listening, none of us have introduced ourselves yet tonight. We apologize. We'll do that in just a second. But we have Mr. Blurred HD. Please introduce yourself for us, please.
I'm Tom Parham. I teach at Palm Beach Atlantic University in West Palm Beach, Florida.
And we miss him every day. And
Can you say it one more time?
Which part?
Tom, you just cut out on us. I'm so sorry.
Tom
one more time.
I teach communication and media studies at Palm Beach Atlantic University in Florida.
Awesome. And for Tom has been kind of wow, Derek disappeared. Tom has been going along with us And Tom, thank you for logging in. Not only, oh, look at this. Look, Tom, look who's watching tonight. Jill Brownlee Wolf. Loving it.
Jill.
Hey, Tom, well, we really would love to have your perspective on this. Not only are you an expert here, but tell us, like, what do you think about what we're saying? Like, who should wield the shield, and why is it important who has the shield?
Sam, duh.
We could have said that, Tom.
No, Sam was Steve's choice. And I've read the comics. I know how the story ends. One of the things that's really interesting that the showrunners did, and I actually met Malcolm Spellman at a Writers Guild event before COVID hit, and won't go there. But the thing that's interesting is the way they approached it is the initial enmity between Bucky and Sam is the fact that Sam didn't do what Steve told him to do. And I remember when in Endgame, when Cap gives Sam the shield, there were some people who were like, oh, he should have given it to Bucky. It's like Bucky knew Cap was going to give him the shield because Bucky knew what Steve's plan was. And Bucky also knows that he's still struggling and that Sam is the best choice for the person to wield the shield.
And just in your opinion, why?
Because in terms of the character, one, veteran, two, somebody who has seen combat, and when he came back, not only, I mean, he obviously probably dealt with some things, but he dedicated, before he became the Falcon, he dedicated his career to helping other people deal with their PTSD. And, you know, he probably can't pick up Thor's hammer because Steve is a special case. And he doesn't have super soldier serum, but he does have the heart. And he is, you know, he's trying to do the thing. Dude, that conversation between him and Isaiah Bradley blew my socks off Friday. It's like, holy crap. And the thing is, there is so much. I kind of wish it had been longer than 6 episodes because the structure's a little wonky, especially we had this really interesting break in episode 5, and then we know stuff is going to go down for the conclusion. But you could do a whole episode just dealing with blacks in the military is such a complicated issue because, you know, my dad was the second black chaplain in the U.S. Navy. The reason he wasn't the first is they wouldn't let him join until he showed the newspaper article of the first guy. And he was the first black captain, 06 in the U.S. Navy. So, but his experience is different from other people's experiences. And there's a whole generation. What Spike Lee, I think, was trying to do, and I'm being very gracious because I'm not a fan of the movie, but what I think he was trying to do in Da 5 Bloods is point out that the black GI's experience in Vietnam was completely different from the white GI's experience. Yeah. And not a fan of the movie. and it changed storylines and tones like twice. It's like, dude. But there's a whole, I hate to say generation, there's a whole stream of thought within the black community that the military uses soldiers of color to do dirty work that rich white guys don't want to do. And there's still a lot of people who feel that way today. There are a lot of people who feel that the Navy is the last bastion of aristocracy because the Navy is so completely different from the other services. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a complicated issue. But to hear a character vocalize it like that, but Sam's coming at it from the other end, and it's great because it's a true dialectic. You're getting two sides, and I think I know what's in that briefcase from Wakanda.
Yeah. Did you hear Ben talking?
The fact that Sam is going to make the choice that's right for him.
Yeah.
Period.
And I think he needed to learn that. He needed to learn why he is the one to wield the shield.
And would you rather fly, though, honestly?
So
wait. Go ahead. What'd you say, Luke?
I'm just saying, like, I think him flying is better in my opinion. Like, do you want to carry another thing? Like, I that's just my opinion. This has nothing to do with any of it. But I'm like, flying to me is better than carrying a shield, in my opinion.
Dude,
but I know you can
goes on his back when he's flying, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
A quick, 10-second comment. I think it really does say something to Sam's character that he was handed this shield and he was like, I do not deserve this, and passed it back off just because I've been rereading. Yeah, just because I've been rereading the Chronicles of Narnia. When Prince Caspian said that, Aslan said, that's how I know you're ready to be king, is because you don't think you're worthy of it.
And now, Charlie, you get the chocolate factory.
Exactly. Ben knows what's up.
Tom, did you lose us?
No, he's still there.
He's still there.
He was saying that he lost, and I do want to point out
I
that
can't hear Jim.
Can you hear me, Tom?
Anybody else?
I do want to point out that Tom is military service as well, so he has a couple of different perspectives on this that is just so important. And I think our internet might be cutting Tom out tonight.
He's moving okay.
Yeah.
Derek's frozen to me.
Katie's voice.
I hear.
Should we go around and introduce ourselves now that we're 45 minutes in?
I think that would be fantastic. All right. Well, but we're almost to that point. I just want to make sure before.
Ourselves now that we're 45 minutes in.
Is that Derek?
No, so tell you what, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves real quick. My name is Jim Fry. I am the face. I'm the cartoon face of the con guy here. That's about all I contribute to the show. Who do we? How about we go with it? Let's just go this way.
Hey, everybody, it's me, old buddy Ben. And again, we're coming at you. You can find me on the internet at BENKLIEWER, Twitter, Instagram. That's what I do. I'm an actor, comedian, writer, big geek. Again, thanks to that#show.com for hosting our show, or for having our show as part of their network, as well as Jim. Where are the other places that you can find the con guy?
You can find us on the ESO network. You can find us on the Weeby Geeks Collective. And as of a couple of weeks ago, we are now on Sci-Fi God Radio.
And you can also, I was going to say, you can also pick us up wherever you get your podcasts. So, and of course, that #show always brought to you by Neft Vodka, reminding you to please drink responsibly, and toink.com for all sorts of cool stuff. I love plugging things.
Cheeseman.
And I'm Luke Cheeseman, known as Cheeseman here on the show. I am a writer and filmographer here in the LA area, introducing myself that way as I should. But I'm here with Conga.com.
All right.
One of the founding members.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Katie.
I am Katie, aka Katie Christine, Katie_Christine. I am a costumer, and I'm here at the Con Guy, a full-time nerd, as I like to call myself, the gamer of the group. And just while we're talking, since we were talking about the military and comics and things like that, I did want to just say, if you guys get the chance and you are wanting to watch something military-based but also historical, go for Broke, the documentary about the 442 in World War II, which is the Japanese-American regiment of the Army that was created during World War II. Definitely check it out on Amazon. It is narrated by George Takei. It's a very insightful eye-opener if you guys don't know the history of the Japanese-Americans, especially specifically in how they served the country. Go check it out.
And Katie's one of the con girls. Who's the other con girl?
I'm so sorry. I'm part of the con girls.
And I'm the other con girl. I'm Danae.
Oh, no.
Hey, you can find me on Instagram at DNYS. I just want to say, because Jim said he's only the face of the con guy, he actually does a ton of work behind the scenes, and we so appreciate everything Jim does. Jim, thank you. I'm also half of the Samblings, and oh no, he disappeared again. But Derek. Yeah, Derek is the other half. Maybe he'll just text me and I'll read all of his thoughts, because we're basically twins born 8 years apart. So I can just, whatever I say counts as what Derek says. And that is that Danae is the coolest of all the Samblings.
All right. And Mr.
Did we get Tom back?
Yeah, Tom's back.
Okay, good.
I'm here.
Yep.
Yeah, y'all are cutting in and out. It's very strange.
Maybe we have a bad internet connection tonight. I'm sorry. And Tom, where can people find you if they want it? Because you've got some thoughts I'm sure people would love to hear.
You can find me on Blurred PhD at Blurred PhD on both Twitter and Instagram.
Can I say Blurred PhD is one of the best names ever. That is so great. I love
Right.
that. By the way, Tom, for those of you if you haven't watched the show for a while, Tom is someone that we all met here in Los Angeles, and he has written books. He has discussed. He's a frequent panelist and organizer at many conventions, and he is such an expert in the field. Tom, thank you so much for jumping on last second tonight, because we have been shuffling a lot to get our show together for tonight. I'm just going to tell you.
I miss my cheese fry.
We miss having you here, my friend.
I miss Katie and my
Yeah.
clever cleaver
And
my samblings.
yeah.
Yeah. Tommy used to be a part of a Bible study with both Derek and me and Jim and Luke. And I mean, we totally miss you, dude. Yeah.
Tom, how you doing there in Florida?
Dude, the job's awesome. And aside from locking myself out of my house yesterday accidentally, which I will never do again because it was not cheap to fix that. But no,
You just need a shield to throw through the window.
We had our student film showcase on Friday, and then tonight the sketch comedy group that I serve as faculty rep for had their show downtown. So
Nice.
socially
Are
distanced
you-
for both, of course.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, are you teaching in the classroom, or are you doing it all over like Zoom and stuff right now?
Oh no, dude, I've been in the classroom face to face, masks, and sneeze guards for all the students. Since
Gotcha.
August.
I was just curious because I don't know how it is in Florida versus here. So
Yeah, well, our university president's an MD, so our COVID protocols are very extensive. 31-page booklet.
oh, okay.
Wow. And making a special occasional appearance. Not just yet. Con guy Derek's trying to log back in. Give him a second.
There
Occasional.
we go.
I've been trying.
Assembly.
For some reason, the internet just
There's
keeps
the other half of the sampling.
falling
He's gonna-
apart on me.
Hey, but do we have anything left in us about who is going to wield the shield? Because Katie has a kind of an interesting take on that. Janae, did you-
Derek had a thought as
Yeah.
the military man that I know he wanted to share.
No, I was just
Okay.
gonna say, like, I have
But,
seen
yeah.
stuff that I haven't seen the complaints
And
what people had
Derek's
to say
trying
about.
to log in right now. Oh, I wonder.
Derek's
Derek-
on right now.
Here.
We can
I'm
hear
talking
him.
right
He's
now, Jim.
talking.
Can you not hear me?
I love
I
this
think Jim
blooper.
has a bad connection because we can all hear Derek right now.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
I don't see him at all.
Let him continue.
Derek, why don't you go? Yeah.
Jim, I'll give you the signal. Derek, go ahead. Now he's frozen.
Now he's
Now it looks like Ben at the end of every show. Okay.
Here, I have a text from Derek. Would you guys like me to read it in my best
Sure.
Derek impression?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Derek, the military man, said, I was going to say I've seen a lot of shows and movies that portray the military in a negative way, and this isn't one of them. For what it's worth, I've known soldiers from all walks of life and with various moral qualities and failings. There are good and bad people who join, and their experiences can influence them to make good and bad choices. Seeing your friends die in front of you and following through with the mission anyway is something my drill sergeant talked about.
That's cool.
That was my Derek impression. I hope it was
That was a
good.
good Derek impression. It was good.
And
Thank
can
you.
we just read this one here? This is from Jill Brownlee-Wolf. This is her way in. I believe Bucky needs Sam to wield the shield because of his statement when they were in therapy. If Steve was wrong about you, then he's wrong about me. It needs to be Sam. Sorry, weighing in late. Jill Brownlee,
Go
That's a
Jill.
great response.
thank you for the great conversation. Going to have to
Thanks,
catch more of
Jill.
your sessions. Yes, you are. Our sessions. She makes it sound like therapy sessions, but that's
I
all
mean,
right.
they kind of are. They kind of are.
Nerd therapy.
They are
Staring
really therapy.
contest.
All right. So, Tom, you are welcome to stay on for the rest of the show. We're going to transition into something else.
Wait, I did have one final thing I wanted
Oh,
because I didn't
sure.
feel like I got to talk that much about Falls. But last thing I want to say is
what?
that opening scene was so cool. It felt so Civil War. I love the opening scene of this
Yeah.
past episode where the battle over the shield. We cannot leave the show with saying how awesome that fighting over the shield scene was, like that action scene.
That was amazing. Yeah.
That
And the image of Sam wiping the blood off the shield.
Mm-hmm.
That was
powerful.
dope.
That moment got me. I was like, oh, like, yeah.
I was gonna also mention that training montage scene with Sam like throwing the shield and like doing flips and
It
stuff.
was so good. Just that episode was everything I wanted from a Marvel series. Like it was so good.
It takes practice to be a superhero, especially when you're not a super soldier.
Cool. Wait, has anybody put that to Eye of the Tiger yet? We could go viral.
I'm sure somebody will.
Luke, I think you can get on that.
And real quickly, Katie.
Yeah.
In a non-spoiler way, it seems like someone else has predicted who's going to be wielding the shield this week. What happened?
I wouldn't say predicted. I'm assuming that there was no guidelines about when they could drop this particular collectible.
Mm-hmm.
Or they didn't. Sorry, you guys. I don't know if you heard that firework that just went off in the background. All right. So,
it's with you and fireworks.
Yeah.
It happens all the time in my area. All the time for no reason at all. Anyway, so Hallmark. If you guys follow the show, you know that someone here, Luke, collects the Hallmark ornaments that they sell every year, and apparently they released one. And I'm not going to spoil it, but it basically has a spoiler for the end of the show. And they dropped it yesterday, a week before the finale. So if you want to know, you can look it up. But I didn't look it up because I don't want to see it. I want to have that moment of shock and awe. But Jim, am I cool to discuss this in further with other things now? About other things that this has been a problem with?
Oh, you said, okay.
I'm not.
You had a list of stuff, didn't you?
Yeah. So basically, this was where I kind of got the idea. Where this is not the first time this has happened. A lot of collectibles have to toe a fine line between spoiling something and being able to get the money from a product early enough before it's still relevant, and waiting until afterwards and it not being popular anymore. For example, The Child for The Mandalorian. They purposely did not release it because they didn't want to spoil the plot of The Mandalorian. Unfortunately, because of that, we did not get The Child merchandise till 6 months after the first season aired. Now, granted, they're still making a killing with that merchandise, right? Because season 2 did come out. So, but for example, Shazam. All right, Shazam, everybody knows, we all pretty much like that movie here, I think, but they were very smart with their entire press tour. They did not bring anybody other than the 3 main actors on the press tour with them because they did not want to have people asking questions about, well, who do you play in the movie? Because it would be a spoiler. Funko, on the other hand, released an entire line of collectibles that gave away a major plot point. I knew that plot point before I saw the movie. Jim, Luke, they did not. They did not see those pops. It happens a lot with collectibles. So it's really hard because if you follow a lot of websites like all of us follow, if you are a nerd in the community, sometimes we can't control the things that pop up on our feed, the recommended feed, and we see those spoilers. So you got to tread carefully. That's all I have to say. Just, it's hard, but it's very, very common. For example, the Snyder Cut pops are coming out. They got announced after the Snyder Cut dropped. So now people want them and they don't have them yet. So it's an interesting.
Supply and demand.
You know, and it would be interesting to hear Jake's thoughts on that because he's the collectible guy. So it would be interesting to hear Jake say something about it. But
we're gonna have to get him on, and you guys, man, I'm looking through this thing called a CD case. These are CDs. The best example I can think of is back in the day when Phantom Menace came out. I bought the soundtrack before the movie, and one of the song titles was "The Death of Keegan," or I was like,
Jam.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm as bad with fake names as I am real.
Or a bad nerd.
And I'm like, what the heck? I was so angry. I was so angry.
Do that a lot too. That's a good connection.
Maybe that's why I don't have it anymore. I threw it out the window.
Oh.
By the way, next month it'll be 22 years since Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, was released in theaters.
Oh, God.
May 19th, 1999.
2 years?
And I'm going, I'm going to announce right here we are doing a special 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm Con Guy show, and timing it with hopefully May the 4th. So we're going to have a really special show, and we'll hopefully get some guests and stuff on. So that's going to be fun. Hey guys, we're going to we got a couple things before we finish up the show tonight. Katie, thank you for talking about that tonight, because that is an issue. And like, I know that Brad has our friend Brad, who is a friend of the show. He's been in the stores, and we're going to do a special collectibles show. In the last 2 weeks, he has sent me, Luke, how many collectibles has Brad been sending? Probably at least 150 so far. He's in these past 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, him and Jake are just like going off the chain every day. Like,
speaking of which, Hasbro
he should open his own toy shop.
Man, if it's anything like that Transformer they announced, then
Hasbro will be releasing the
Brad
Force.
is a very but Brad has been sending us so much stuff, and like we hope that Brad and Jake can pull together a really cool bunch of stuff there. Hey, we got one more thing we would be sinning if we didn't mention this. Guys, Marvel is shooting on all cylinders. Did you guys see the brand new trailer today for Shang-Chi?
No,
Yes!
I need to
Oh
rewatch
my
it.
gosh.
I watched it on my phone, so I need to rewatch it on the big screen today.
I love kung fu movies.
Yeah, I tell you what, and the poster came out. I'm telling you, there is something about this that just got me just so excited.
That war costume, though.
Well, and the other thing is, you know, we're bringing back the 10 rings from Iron Man, from the Iron Man
3,
1 and 2 and 3.
Yep.
It even appears in the background in the first Iron Man movie when he's kidnapped. Sorry, I'll stop.
No, keep going.
But yeah, so of course the Mandarin was involved with the 10 rings and that sort of thing, and that's something we just that's a loose end that hasn't been tied up. And so now, when I first heard the announcement was going to be Shang-Chi and the Legend of the 10 Rings, I was just like, yes, we're going back to it. Okay, sorry.
Well, it's cool because I was a little bit disappointed, like you guys, that we didn't really get to see the 10 rings. It was played for comedy there in the end of Iron Man 3, and I liked it. Ben Kingsley, I was like, oh, okay. But I wanted the 10 rings. I wanted something bigger than that. And there's Danae. Hey, Danae.
Hi. Sorry, I had to fix air conditioning stuff, and I didn't want you guys to hear it or see me climb onto things. So.
I gotta say,
yeah.
As someone who is an Asian American,
I was hoping you were going to chime in here, Katie.
I am so stoked to see Marvel do a kung fu influenced, movie. It's going to be awesome to see how they do that, because I mean, I kind of saw Asian influence in like Doctor Strange and stuff, but they did get a lot of pushback on certain things in that movie. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they do it with their budgets and with just their abilities that they have in production. I'm really excited to see what a Marvel movie is going to be for this. And all the representation. I mean, it's great, and it's kind of a long time coming. I feel like for a lot of Asian American actors, there's been an influx of Asian cinema here in America, and it's absolutely wonderful to see, especially in non-stereotypical roles. So I'm just living for it. I'm so excited about it, and I'm glad that I'll be able to see it in theaters. So,
Tom, did you see it? The trailer?
Oh yeah,
What'd you
I
think?
watched it in my office on my monitor.
Yeah, what'd you think?
Looks dope, and Aquafina too, and Michelle Yo. I'm so in.
But you know what was cool though? Like, did you guys hear how this happened today? So this morning, the lead actor, I'm missing his name. This morning, the poster for Marvel Studios' Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings debuted on, and I'm terrible with things. It's Simu Liu's Instagram and his Twitter pages, because today is his birthday. So for his birthday, he goes, "Here's the poster. Marvel's letting me reveal the poster for the new movie." And then he goes, and then this is what he said. He goes, "And what's cool, I can officially announce to you in a few weeks, you might even get the trailer." Not not more than a minute after he said that, Marvel dropped the trailer while he's Instagramming, and he's like, "What?" He goes, he goes, "This is the best birthday ever." So it was like the coolest thing that Marvel did for him this morning to reveal the trailer as a birthday gift, kind of to him. I just think that was so great. I love
That's
that.
so cool. Yeah.
I love that reaction too, because like that would be like any nerd or fan's dream to be like surprised by like your employer, but also just like something that means a lot to you, and then to see a live reaction to just a trailer dropping, not just the trailer in general, just to the trailer dropping. Yep. So especially after the year we've all had, it's nice to see like huge outbursts of joy. So.
And can we all say, I agree with you, Katie. After the dumpster fire that was 2020,
402 or 3 days. Let's see. Saturday it was 402 days since we locked down.
It's the longest 15 days I've ever spent.
Yeah.
All right, guys. All I can say is, as we're seeing glimmers of hope, and I always like when we can go out with Ben, giving us a little bit of glimmer of hope. Ben, what's happening, Ben, as we are coming to the end of our show here?
I got my second shot.
Oh, wait,
you can't see it in this light, but there might be. I think there's a little dot somewhere here.
This is all white. I can't see. Yeah. It's just white. It's just white, Eric.
There we go again.
Is that specifically the topic you're talking about, Jim? Is that okay? So yes, I as I say on the show every week, my survival job. I have been incredibly blessed during the pandemic to get a survival job, not only just to have a job, but to be helping out. And I've been working for the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health with their COVID response team. So I've worked a few different positions, all from home, talking to people over the phone. And most recently, I've been helping people sign up for vaccine appointments. And so it has been all over the place. I've had busy days and slow days. And it's been getting slower and slower, which is good because it means more and more people are signing up for their shots on their own, but also getting their vaccination shots. And I would just like to, I know there's all kinds of thoughts and opinions and about vaccinations and this vaccination in particular out there. And there are other fine folks on this very program that can comment on that as well, with probably perhaps a little bit more expertise than I do. But it is really important. It isn't dangerous. The whole thing with Johnson & Johnson, six women got blood clots after getting Johnson & Johnson. You have a greater chance of getting struck by lightning or getting eaten by a shark. They have paused the Johnson & Johnson out of an abundance of caution. They're probably going to start it back up again. But yeah, so if you've had the Johnson & Johnson shot, don't worry about that. It's literally less than 1 in a million chance.
6 women out of nearly 7 million.
Million people, yeah.
Let's please say that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yes, it's literally less than 1 in a million chance. It was 6 women out of more than 7 million people who received the Johnson & Johnson shot. So, but yeah, it's the best way for us to get back to normal. It's quote unquote normal. I think, a lot of us are touch starved. We want to hug our friends. We want to shake people's hands. I want to clink a glass against Jim's glass at Costa Vega. That's what I want to do. Yeah. And there we go. But in real life, I want to get back into the studio and
we
do
just one happy hour past 10 o'clock. That will make it happen.
And so the mRNA vaccine, it teaches your cells to make a certain protein and to teach your antibodies to fight against it. And it's the kind that the virus makes. And so that if you get the vaccine, then you go out and the virus comes at you, then your body's like, I know you. And then it gets rid of it. And so if we can, if the majority of us can get this, or a lot of us can get this, it's going to help us to be able to go back to being able to eat indoors and going to movies. And we're already starting to do that because people are getting it. So I'm just really excited about it. I'm excited to come out and see all you beautiful people. I don't care if I've never met you before in my life. I want to give you a hug. Yep. Maybe. Take a shower first. But yeah, I've got my first shot down. I'm going back in 2 weeks for my second. And my wife as well.
Mine's next week, yeah.
Katie's going next week.
Mine is 1 week from today.
Mine is
She
May.
might be healthy again.
Mine's May 5, my second dose. Hey, thank you so much for that, Ben. As we close out the show here, guys, we are closing out. This is a remarkable. Of course, I don't want to speak too soon. Look how short the show is. As we close out the show, I think I do want to announce one thing that's really cool. And let me, as we close out the show, let's just say that we, as the Con Guys, are very, very excited to have been nominated in 4 different categories in the upcoming The Snobby Awards. You can tune in. This is on the the Scene Snobs podcast. There were a bunch of people submitted, and you can tune in to the awards live on April 25. Go to thescenesnobs.com. Follow them on Facebook or Twitter. We have been nominated in these 4 categories. Best live show. Doesn't get much livelier than this, I tell you what. Best geek, nerd, and pop culture podcast. We got that one covered. Best comic.
Oh, no.
And best panel discussion. Our fingers are crossed, and good luck to all the nominees we will be watching. We'll have links on the website. We'll be watching on April 25th. That is something that's awesome that I'm super excited about. All right, as we have what we call the last call tonight, we're going to go around the horn. If you guys got something cool to say, please do it. As we close out the show, we're going to start with Mr. Tom Parham, Blurred PhD. Give us how people can find you and anything you want to promote.
You can find me at Blurred PhD on Twitter and on Instagram. And I'm just gonna tag in with what Brother Ben said. Get your shot so we can get back to something resembling normal.
Yep.
I get Pfizer number 2 on May 2nd.
All right, you beat me by 3 days.
Get your shots so we can all get shots, right?
Yes. All right, D-Nays.
You can find me on Instagram at DNAYS. You can also find me on TikTok at Whiny Danae, but wine is spelled like a glass of wine because it usually takes that before I post on TikTok. And if you've followed me on either of those places, you know I am so excited because this Friday, the Netflix original series Shadow and Bone, based on the books by Lee Bardugo, is dropping. I'm probably just going to be pulling an all-nighter and watching all of them because I'm so excited and I can't wait.
That's fantastic. Hey, Luke, I got to ask you, were you able to get that video?
Oh.
Danae's video. Go check out the Con Girls and Danae's Instagram because there's some very funny video. We tried to pull them tonight. We were having a last second shuffle of topics tonight. So, all right, Katie.
I am KT_Christine across all social media, including Twitch. I've been taking a little bit of a break from Twitch just to kind of get some things done and just focusing on some other stuff. But usually you can find me on Twitch at least 3 nights a week or so at twitch.tv/KT_Christine. If you want to see me get frustrated while playing The Witcher 3 on the hardest difficulty on New Game Plus, come join me on Wednesdays while I do that. Also, you can find me helping out with social media for the Con Guys and also the Con Girls, although I am really leaving my partner Janae in the dust with my lack of posting, but I'm trying to get better. And just nerding out on Twitter about whatever I am watching. You can find me live tweeting pretty much every time I am on there. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Cheeseman.
Where am I?
Where am I?
Where am I? Am I here?
There you go.
You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter, Cheese on Couch, and also eagerly waiting Thursday night at midnight for some Falls.
What do you mean by Falls?
Falcon and Winter Soldier. Also rhymes with Jaws, my favorite movie, if you can see it.
All right, real quick, before we lose you.
Okay, yeah, you can occasionally find me on Twitter at ConGuyDerek, but more often here on the Con Guy Happy Hour and on theconguy.com. Yeah, we're still saying what we're geeking out over right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife and I are still hooked on Assassin's Creed Odyssey. We're almost done playing through it, and it is freaking long. And, less of a fandom, but just nerdy. I started learning Python over the last week or so, and I'm nerding out on math. No, the coding language. It's very exciting.
Oh.
I love that. I love that.
Hey everyone, old buddy Ben. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at BENKLIEWER. Go get your shots so I can get back in a stand-up comedy club and be doing some comedy in front of y'all. I've been working on new material, not a whole bunch of new material, but I've been working on some new material over COVID, and I'm pretty excited about it. One thing I'm geeking out over right now, this very day, and Derek will appreciate this. Michael Dorn tweeted he's been called back into action by Starfleet, which means Worf is coming to Picard. Worf!
Yes! Kapla!
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's what I've been geeking out about today, along with Shang-Chi and all the other great stuff. Get your COVID-19 vaccines. Let's get back to real life. I love you all, and thank you again to thathashtagshow.com.
That's right. And I don't say it enough. I love this group of people. I look forward to you guys on Monday evenings. You too, Tom. I miss Tom so much. I look forward to this so much. And as we go out, please, those of you, let's get safe, let's get healthy, let's get out there because, and we don't have time to go through it tonight. A lot of the major conventions towards the end of the year are trying to have some kind of convention, but we have to get people healthy. You know, MegaCon Orlando in August, Dragon Con September 2 through 6. Long Beach Comic Con is scheduled for September 4 through 5th. Rose City Comic Con September 10 through 12. Fan Expo Dallas is a big one, September 17th through 19th. Just two more. Emerald City Comic Con, one of the biggest, December 2 through 5. And then Los Angeles Comic Con at the LA Convention Center, December 3rd through the 5th. All these will happen, but only if we can really achieve that herd immunity that we need to achieve. So those of you who want to get that vaccine, please go out and get it. And and
is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted?
Right. And for those of you listening, Danae has a really cool TikTok video. Let's watch it real quick. Turn it up.
Hold on.
These old men don't know how to work TikTok.
Real loud. And go.
Worse than before.
Oh, we can't hear it.
Can anybody lip read? Nope. Okay.
I mean, if you check the Con Girls on Instagram at the Con Girls, you can see it there.
Yeah.
It's man, that's an amazing TikTok, you guys.
That was
Look at
so
that.
funny. Danae, you were the best TikToker ever. Your TikTokery is
You just gotta go to the Con Girls on Instagram and see it.
TikTok right
Please
there.
go to the Con Girls.
Wow, it's just like Kesha wrote it.
All right, and last announcement, big announcement
Go watch the
for us. We're about to kick our
Robot
brand new
season
season.
2. Sorry.
Sorry, Jim, you were cut out.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I've got to fix my internet. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
I'll talk slowly. Watching, because we are kicking off the new season of our sister podcast, The Scare Guy, with a super cool halfway to Halloween show coming to the Scare Guy very soon. We're going to be part of the Halfway to Halloween Festival. That's happening with a bunch of podcasts coming up in May. Boy, we look like the season 9 of Game of Thrones. All of our heads up here. Love you guys. Love the show. This has been such a good week.
Great
And for
comparison,
those of you, and for you guys knowing that it was kind of a tough show to pull together last minute tonight, thank you so much. We had such a great time. Tom, thank you for joining us. Guys, please like us, follow us, and we've got a lot more coming your way. Good night, everybody.
Watch the last episode of Foz so you can stop his bad dreams.
That's right. That's right. Good night.
Bye-bye.